All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. Double honor goes to the apostles of Great Millstone from whom I learned the truth. And much love and peace and blessings goes out to all you hopeful elect brothers that are out there teaching the word of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai in all truth and in sincerity. So basically, it's going to be a lesson. I'm entitled this, Esau is receiving recompense. All right, because this is based upon the fact that amidst of all these uprisings that are happening across America and across the world for that matter, you got these statues of white supremacists and figureheads of Edomite supremacy, which are pretty much the wicked forefathers of these modern Edomites in America that have raped, robbed, and murdered to get where they're at and use enchantments and wickedness to get where they're at. Now these figureheads of their society is being destroyed. And that's, through the spirit, that's a tall tale sign of the downfall of a people. When their images and the things that represent their culture start to go, that's a sign of a downfall of them. It's called iconoclasm, in case you didn't know. The destruction of images is called iconoclasm. And even that happened to Israel. Just have I get that real quick. That was a sign of our downfall. Laid open the book. It's in the book of Maccabees where these heathens, the Greeks, pretty much painted over the images of our righteous forefathers and made them look like Edomites. The Edomites was doing that back then, and they're doing it. They did it in different points of history, but it all happened in the time period of our downfall. First Maccabees 3:48 says, "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images." See? So within the culture of Israel, you had Edomites even at that time that blasphemed our images by making them look like pale-skinned people. And likewise, nowadays, we had statues and everything too as well that got defaced in the times of our rulership and when the heathen came to destroy us. Now you got Esau, his images are being destroyed. Like you got the Christopher Columbus statue got destroyed. It was another one in London, which I'll read a little bit of that article, that got destroyed. And all these things are just, like I said, a sign of Esau's downfall. This is it for Esau, because you couldn't go anywhere near these type of statues in the 1800s, 1700s, even 50 to 60 years ago when Esau was in his zenith, when there was a real sense of white nationalism and white pride and Esau was on top. Couldn't do that back then, but you know why it's happening now? Because Esau is weak. He's weak. Because everybody's on to this devil. Everybody is on to this devil, that he's the devil, that he's the Esau, Edom, and he's going to be destroyed. So I'm going to read a bit of these two instances from this articles I have, and Lord's will go to the scriptures. It says, statues of Christopher Columbus are being dismounted across the country. And this, if I might say, man, this dude, Christopher Columbus, is a straight up demon. Christopher Columbus was a guy who they tell you in history books sailed to the Americas accidentally in hope of getting to the Indian subcontinent. So and this dude, what he really did was he came to America for the purpose of pillaging and raping. And that's exactly what he did. And Esau has held this guy as some type of hero. Well, he's not a hero. He's just a rapist and a robber. It says, as racial reckoning occurs across the country following the death of George Floyd, many Confederate statues, which some consider racist, it is racist. See how Esau uses subtlety by saying some consider racist? No, these symbols are racist. Symbols of America's dark legacy of slavery Salakia, have been removed. Now statues of Christopher Columbus, another controversial figure in U.S. history, Salakia. Shit, kind of having a sneezing fit here, Salakia, bros. It says, now statues of Christopher Columbus, another controversial figure in U.S. history, are also being taken down. There have been 3 reports of Christopher Columbus statues being tampered with. One thrown into a lake, one beheaded, and another pulled to the ground. Columbus has long been a contentious figure in history for his treatment of the indigenous communities he encountered and for his role in the violent colonization at their expense. You see that? So what did he come to do? He came to colonize and rob the resources of the so-called Native Americans, which the Native Americans are of the 10 tribes of the Kingdom of Israel. Okay? And that's what he did. So that's why these type of judgments are happening. You know? And this is Robert Milligan's this is from BBC News. Robert Milligan's slave trader statue removed from outside London Museum. A statue of noted slaveholder Robert Milligan has been removed from outside the Museum of London Docklands. So it says Sadiq Khan earlier announced a review of all London statues and street names, saying any with links to slavery should be taken down. Which, you know, this is a somewhat of a double-edged sword, because, and on one hand, yeah, you have Esau, his symbols of his shameful history being removed because it's judgment, but also on one hand, he wants, moving forward, and in his new world order, he wants his wicked history to not be acknowledged on a grand scheme. But when it comes to the scriptures clearly identify you Edomites as the ones that have raped, robbed, and murdered the planet and its inhabitants and oppressed the children of Israel, and now you must pay. Now the Bible outlines your retribution and the judgments that's going to come upon you from the Most High for everything that you did. And there's countless of things that, examples that I could get into personally that will reveal a bit of Esau's wickedness. But look, at the end of the day, it sums up to what? You oppressed the children of Israel. And all throughout your history since being in rulership, from the time of the Renaissance, of Europe. That's when you Edomites got back into power, and ever since then you've been on a conquest of blood. Okay, so this is I'm gonna read this a bit. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. And who is this referring to? The Edomites, because the Edomites are not an upright people. Just you look at, okay, Asians, so-called Indians, so-called Africans, which are Hamites, so-called Arabs, so-called Pacific East Islanders, so-called Hawaiians, so-called Australian Aborigines, and then finally, but not last, the so-called white man. Which one of them is the most wicked and morally disgusting? According to the Bible, it's you so-called white people. Because what? You promote women being over men or equal to men. You promote homosexuality, pedophilia, human trafficking, slavery, mixed, and even stealing, idol worship, witchcraft. So you're not upright. It says, but the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. And this wine represents his philosophies. Because let's look up his this word for transgress, and it's the Hebrew word bagad, which means to cover, figuratively, to act covertly, to deal deceitfully, to transgress, treacherous, to deal treacherous. Okay? He has covert operations, man. So he comes subtly by wine, through philosophies, through telling you that his things are for your benefit, but they end up destroying you. You know what I'm saying? Just like his technology, you know, it's destructive. Esau's ways of life is destructive, okay? He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. He doesn't keep on home because he covets every nation's land. And that's why you have American bases in damn near every major country across the planet. It says who and damn sure every inhabited continent. It says who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And this is another clear sign that points to the fact of America being Babylon, as well as the rulership of the Edomites, because you have all types of nationalities over here, you know, which is wicked because the different nations have their respective lands that they're supposed to live in. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? And this is what the nations are saying right now. They're saying, woe to you that have increased which doesn't belong to you, which means taking other people's lands, and thereupon these lands equals to their resources, occupying their country so you can get opium and gold and coal and the resources to make drugs and different chemicals and witchcraft for your benefit. So what? So you can live high off the hog, so to speak. So your children and yourselves can have $1 billion mansions. Okay, can own multi-billion-dollar corporations. It's through thievery. All right, in covert operations. It said, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, and the thick clay represents the debt system of America. Because if you look up that word thick clay, it's ibatya, which means debt. Shall they not rise up? And the point to America is based upon a credit system. Shall not they rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? And who does that represent? The Israelites. Because the Israelites are going to regain all the resources from these Edomites. Because the nations, look, when it comes to the nations, they are going to fight in World War III, but there ain't going to be no clear victor amongst them. It's not like Russia is going to spoil America and get the resources of America. No, the one who's going to come on top is Israel, because the key point of how you know it's talking about the Israelites, because it says that they shall awake. And who will sleep? The Israelites. The Israelites were asleep to their identity. It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. So you Edomites, what have you done? Committed acts of violence against our people. So that's why violent acts will be committed upon you. It says, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. You see? And Esau, he looks to gather all these resources in. And you know what? He dedicates a lot of his gains towards his military, right? That's why he set up the International Space Station. That's why you got the SpaceX launches right now, where he's trying to set up that nest on high to get away from his judgment. You see what I'm saying? You see how this all links up? This is prophecy. This is prophecy all linking up, man. It says, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. And this is what Esau have done. He sinned against his soul by committing these wickedness. Okay, because ultimately he's going to receive judgment, because the Most High is a just power. So all the transgressions he's done is only going to fall upon himself. It's not as if the so-called white man will rule forever, and we're seeing his downfall. It says, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. So this is how America was built. It has a bloody history. Like all these statues of slave owners like Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was a murderer. He was a rapist. Okay, and more than likely he's a pedophile. It says, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. Behold, is it not of the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity? For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. And this knowledge is going out. See, these things are all happening synonymously. You know, you got Esau coming into power, and in the meanwhile, you had the truth being pushed for the past 50 plus years. You know, and really heavy, starting back when the Apostles of Great Millstone got on YouTube to teach. This is all happening synonymously. That's why the Most High included all these things in the same prophecy of Habakkuk, to let you know what time we will be in. This is the end. This is it. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. You see, so it's shame coming to Esau. Shame. Shame for his wicked acts. He's being shamed right now. That's why statues of his goddamn homosexual ancestors are being put down. And the word for shame is qualawan, which means a disgrace, confusion, dishonor, ignominy, okay? Reproach, shame. And you understand what shame means. Just like you got shamed for wetting yourself in the bed because you did something that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, your parents might talk down on you for doing something wrong. That's you being shamed. Okay? Feeling that reproach in the form of words. You know? That's feeling shame for your deeds. And that's exactly what Esau is receiving right now. It says, the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. See? Because at one point in time, Columbus was considered a glorious man. Now he's found out, man. Now he's found out. You see the statue totally decapitated right here. And I wish I could zoom in on it. But, yeah, his ass, he's out of there, man. To hell with some damn Christopher Columbus. He was a Edomite murderer. So this is Zechariah chapter 2, verse 8. It says, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. See? So that's why the Most High is mad, because his eye and his focus is upon the children of Israel. He constantly sees what goes on and the interactions that our people have with the nations. And the Most High have seen all these hateful acts of racism and hatred that Esau has shown toward us. So he's going to be destroyed for that. It says, for behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. And ye shall know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me. You see? Because why? How's the people going to know when these things come to pass? Because at the end of the day, as I mentioned, Esau's kingdom will be destroyed. When he goes into World War III, which is in his plans, but it's only in his plans because the Most High put it in his mind to plan that out. Because it's written in the scriptures. It's not like this is World War 6, 7, 8. No, it's the Third World War, which is set to happen in the Middle East, according to prophecy, in which the Amalekites will attack the Elamites to start a global war. This is all written of before Esau even received power. So how can he say the plans are of him? He's delusional. It says, for behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants, and ye shall know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me. So when Esau gets the spoilers come upon him. And the thermonuclear missiles are mentioned as the spoiler, by the way, because they're coming to destroy everything that Esau basically has built up. So let's go to Job chapter 20, verse 19. So this is the direct cause of why Esau has received his judgment. It's going to be the last scripture I'll get. Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. You see, for these reasons, for his oppression of the poor, for his violent thievery, he's going to receive destruction. So all praise goes to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and Shalom.